Yeah, Wall Street on Parade is really cool because it's I got first cued into Wall Street on Parade in the GameStop saga because for some reason Reddit has banned all links to this website. And it like Reddit was doing all kinds of weird censorship around GameStop, like accounts getting suspended, things you couldn't talk about. They were making it so that the subreddit that was talking about GameStop wasn't allowed to make any links or references to other subreddits so that the discussion would never bleed over to the rest of Reddit. So everyone had to stay in their little bubble, like really obviously arbitrarily trying to contain the discussion. And there was this rule all along that like you could link to any outside site you wanted from that subreddit, but you could not post links to Wall Street on Parade. And I'm like, why the f is that? And eventually I went and looked and I'm like, oh, because these dudes are crushing Wall Street and they do such good reporting that's just like short articles to the point that just spit nothing but facts with sources about how Wall Street is essentially an enormous criminal enterprise. And they've got reporting on all the different banks, on like all the different scandals, all the money that they've laundered, the drugs they've smuggled, the fines, the criminal allegations that they have been convicted of. It's a rocking good time to go to Wall Street on Parade.
You know, speaking of the GameStop thing, right? So when that popped off, you know, I like plenty of others like caught wind of it and was like, I didn't know shit about stocks, but I'm all like, hey, I want to be a part of this. It's like a fucking phenomenon, right? Free money, count me in.
Yep.
Dude, they got me so bad. I start fucking with shit I have no fucking room to touch, you know? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to leave this to the big boys. However, I was involved when, like, Robinhood did their shady shit that day. Remember? Like, and that's when I knew, like, to get out. Like, I saw, like, the writing was on the wall, like the system is so broken that if they can't get your money in a legit way, like, they'll just overtly just be like, hey, fuck you, stop it all real quick, and they'll sink you.
Yep. So the crazy thing about GameStop is that that's the story that everyone is most familiar with, and that's the story that all the documentaries focused on. But actually, from my perspective, and I think from the vast majority of our perspective, the real story of GameStop is actually everything that happened since then, because everyone wasn't like committed or super involved or aware of stock markets. They kind of were like in and out. They like bought a little and they were like, oh, fuck, this is over, and got out, which is like totally fair because like it's, you know, it was what it was. But the actual like the big question mark there was that once they committed that overt crime in front of everyone and the stock plummeted to $40, and then if the people that held on through that, and then it rose back up, and then there was the hearing in front of Congress where Deep Fucking Value, he said he liked the stock and he would buy it at that price. And then immediately after that hearing, he quadrupled down and bought millions of dollars more of the stock right then and there. And the rest of the GameStop community just literally shit their pants with joy. And so it created this like second wave of momentum that kept everyone in. And because everyone stayed in, they all got really motivated to figure out what had happened and what crimes had been committed and how fraudulent is the market if that can all happen in front of our eyes. And like, it's important to remember that the reason why that first ramp happened is because GameStop was being reported as more than 200% short, meaning 100% is all the shares that exist. And so if it's possible to have more than double all the shares that exist have been borrowed somehow, what is a stock in the first place? Right. And the more that the GameStop community started to do that research and dig those rabbit holes, we realized that like, oh, this is not new actually. Like stocks are entirely synthetic and they are a lie, and the entire market is a giant Ponzi scheme. And actually all the stocks are owned by this central clearing company, which is a corporation run by members of all the big banks, and they own all the stocks, and all that you have is an IOU that is genuinely worthless if they care to not value or honor it. And so they've, ever since that actual initial January situation, there's just been hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of really high quality due diligence, some of it total tinfoil that's like ridiculous, like just idiots passing time on the internet making up stupid conspiracy theories for fun. And some of it is like extremely intelligent financial professionals really digging into like the numbers of things, how these complex derivatives, like what collapsed Credit Suisse, the bank, completely collapsed. The GameStop community saw that coming in advance from a mile away, because the GameStop community was already tracking, like when Bill Hwang and his fund, which you might not know about, but it's this other hedge fund that collapsed. He had been deeply shorting GameStop, as well as a couple of other, he was playing all these risky bets in the market, and he was trading with Credit Suisse. And once he exploded, the GameStop community was already like, oh, Credit Suisse is fucked now, because we've been digging into what all those trades were. And so it's this huge amount of actually like exposure of the financial fuckery that's happened ever since that I think is the real story, and it's still happening to this day. And it's so fascinating. I am not as smart as all those people, but I follow them religiously to keep up on what they're exposing. And I'm still holding. I still have all my shares.
Do you think
we've like?
Do you think GameStop?
No, go for it.
Do you think that's ever gonna completely pay off, like, and lay itself out, or do you think that the powers that be and the system is just going to keep trying to find a way to keep that thing running? Because I mean, how the fuck
really
is
good
it still
question.
going?
Yeah, I mean, the important context there is that at the very least, confirmed, retail investors like myself own 25% of the stock directly registered. Like, we have taken our stocks out of the stock market, registered them with the transfer agent, and they literally like are confirmed at least 25%. But once it hit 25%, because that number was climbing and climbing and climbing as we all registered our shares and took them out over the last 3 years, that number hit 25%. And then mysteriously it flatlined. And the reporting all changed, and the wording that GameStop was reporting in their company reports changed to kind of indicate that there was some weird shit going on behind the scenes. So like, we have pretty strong suspicions that we own, just those of us that are hardcore enough to have been directly registering our stocks, that we probably own well over 25% of the company ourselves. And the shorting has been going on ever since. And so there's a million different perspectives on whether like the monetary, like the mother of all short squeezes will happen. And I go back and forth between whether I actually think it for sure will, or whether it's like, here or there, like they have so much power they could destroy it. But like, I don't know. I'm either way on it, and I don't honestly care at this point. Like, the way I look at my GameStop shares, and I think the way most of us do at this point, is we've forgotten all about them. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm never selling them. Like, you can go fuck yourself, Citadel. Like, I will hold those till the day I die. And enough of us have that perspective that like only a fraudulent market would actually make the stock price go down, because we all, like, at least 25% of the investors have that exact same mentality. And there's no other company in the world that has that mentality. And so if the market was a real market, the price would already be going up because we all love it so much and we're all buying every day. But even if it's fraudulent and they do shit to like try to destroy it, it's like, I mean, unless something changes drastically at the company or something, I don't see it really going down in any meaningful way other than fraud. And I'm just going to hold it either way, because most of my shares actually came from free COVID money. And now I'm getting good enough at this content stuff that I'm about to kind of have free money from like YouTube that feels immaterial anyways. And I'll just like keep buying more. Like, I don't care. Like, what else am I going to buy? A bunch of like made up stocks in the stock market that are all about to crash through the floor because like the market, like, fuck, the market's so messed up right now. I'm going to buy Bitcoin and I'm going to buy GameStop, and that's it. I'm obviously not a financial professional. If no one could tell, I'm an idiot who makes, great choices with his life. So don't take any of that as financial advice.
Here, speaking